Merry Christmas. December 25th, 2015. Um, so we'll call this a Merry Christmas message from the Flawed Guru. Um, it also, normally I do these little 5 minutes with the Flawed Guru right on the cusp around December 21st, which was the solstice, which was the shortest day of the year, and which traditionally in cultures all around the world is seen as the turning point between the dark and the light, where the days are becoming shorter and shorter, and then you hit December 21st, and the sun is at the Southern Cross, and then you have a period of 3 days where the days it's the darkest period of the year, and then on December 25th, then which is today, and so from today the days get longer, and we're on the way to spring. From December 21st to March 22nd, we have 3 months during which the days are getting longer from the shortest day of the year until we get to the point on March 22nd where day and night are equal and in balance again. So it's interesting a lot of times to look at it, and from the light and the dark force. This also is another, from the point of view of secular culture, it's interesting that the Star Wars movie came out, started last week, and the theme of the Star Wars movie is like there's the Force, and then there's the dark side and the light side of the Force, and then you have these battles going on. And the new Star Wars movie is like kind of the second generation, of the Star Wars movie that came out when I was younger, back in the 1970s. And, a reenactment of the same kind of battle, the rise of the of the entities that are, united with the dark force, and then, the rise of the Jedi Knights, and, who, trust, they say trust the force. The people on the dark side are trusting the force too. They're trusting the dark side, the light side, and, kind of, working to bring about this thing, that's going on in that world, in that galaxy, and everything like that. But then we look at what's going on the Earth, So anyway, this theme of dark and light, it's appropriate that the Star Wars movie was released, just as it's like the dark forces are gaining ascendancy, it's like, they had the, thing in the first Star Wars movie that was going to blow things up. Now they got a bigger thing, that's going to do it. But, the forces of the resistance, in this case the resistance because the dark force is great light, it's like this kind of thing that goes on. And so, here we are at the winter solstice, with the Flawed Guru. And why the Flawed Guru? Because with the man who has no answers, the man who knows nothing, the man who spends hours and hours and hours studying and then comes to the conclusion that, it is beyond my comprehension. So here we are. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas. The Star Wars movie has been released, beating all box office records, and we're living in a world now where, in popular culture, this will be shown pretty much all over the world. I don't know what the attitude of the Russians is, towards American movies in this particular time. I'm not sure if the people in ISIL or ISIS, do they watch American movies? I imagine, a lot of them do. And they feel that they're involved in this battle, with the dark and the light, and that they're on the light side. And we feel that we're involved in this battle with the dark and the light. We're on the light side. And I would like to, be able to just have things come out sort of and go, leaving aside the cosmic, forces, or the divine, like the, divine battle, between the light and the darkness, or whatever. And just kind of go over to the light side, and do some laughter yoga. But I don't know why. It's like, I don't feel like just making jokes. The situation in the world is a serious situation. So, in terms of the Christmas message, the message is that at another time, like when the world was engulfed in darkness, the light was born. I'm not just saying light was born, that the belief that, the Most High God, not just of this universe or this, of what we know, but the Most High God, of all existence and non-existence and everything, the one, the single point that exists, decided to incarnate on the earth and bring a message of hope that it was possible to get in touch with this Most High Being, that it's possible to have a personal relationship with this Most High Being, a relationship of, profound, all-consuming love, and to become the individual embodiment of this divine being, and to, transform the world in the process, the realization of the kingdom of heaven on earth, through emptying oneself, kenosis, and allowing oneself to become the instrument of this divine being. This is a message that has appeared in other places in the world. How this message gets hashed out, in practice, is different, and that's what's like, a conundrum for me, is how, you can have people all over the world who believe that there is only one God, Most High God, and, but they have different names and different rituals, and so then they go out and engage in combat and justify themselves in their combat. And that just doesn't seem right to me. If there's just one divine God, Rahman, the compassionate, Ar-Rahim, the merciful, As-Salam, the, peace, it's like Hebrews say, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. Arabs say, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. It seems to me that peace is a fundamental value that everybody wants, and even in terms of government, that the primary responsibility of government is supposed to be to keep the peace, whether that's keeping the peace within the land, preserving the peace, the high authority is supposed to preserve the peace, or keeping peace by defending the land. And a wise leader would be able to make peace with others. What is the matter with the world? So in spite of all of that, I think that this time, when there is a sign in terms of the natural phenomenon, that the dark grows to a certain point and then the light ascends. So it is a time of hope. It is a time, is there hope? Is there hope for the world? What's going on in your life? In your own life, you have these periods of time of, elation and depression. You have these periods of time when everything seems clear, and then you have other periods of time where nothing makes any sense to you. You have periods of time when you're happy. You have periods of time you're depression. It's like when you're happy, it's like then, hope's not really a question because you're happy, you're fulfilled. If you're not happy, then you ask the question, is there hope? In the world, if everything is going through a period of peace and prosperity and harmony, then, that's good. It's when things are dark, then you go, is there hope? And the answer is, of course, there is always hope. That's when there is hope. Sometimes all you have is hope. But there is hope, and it is real. And it's, and once again, this time of year with the winter solstice shows that the hope is justified. I wrote a kind of a spontaneous song just imagining, you know, what it was like for the first being who had human consciousness as we have it, who had a sense of time and a sense that there was a progression in things. And just saying there's one first being, I don't know whether it's true or not, because I don't know even, in terms of, the development of, consciousness in physical form, whether it was a slow thing or whether there was a certain point, a critical quantum leap to where one being had consciousness and is like experiencing the earth, as a human being. I just kind of postulated that what would it be like for the first person if they had no parents, so like we say, like with Adam, and he's put here on this earth, and he's living on the earth, and he's living, and then suddenly, everything is beautiful, and things are bearing fruit, and it looks really great, and then all of a sudden, the leaves start to fall, and darkness is coming, and it's getting darker and darker and darker, and the days are getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and if it's your first experience of it, you think, man, this is never going to end. It's like a friend of mine was in the hospital last week, and he got really, really sick, and it was getting worse and worse, and that's why he had to go to the hospital, and he came to the point where he actually thought that he was going to die, Well, if you were living in a thing where this is your first experience of this cyclical relationship between spring, summer, winter, fall, and you enter in the fall and you go, okay, well, it's getting cooler, but it's still not so bad. Wow, all the leaves are falling off the trees. Wow, it looks like, everything is dying. Wow, it's getting colder and colder. Wow, the days are getting shorter and shorter, Well, there's no hope, right? And then all of a sudden, one day, December 25th, you notice, hey, the day didn't get any shorter this time. It stopped. Wow. December 21st, December 22nd, December 23rd. Wow, the days aren't getting shorter anymore. Sun is rising. The earth, the sun is setting. The sun is not rising any later now, and it's not setting any earlier. And then all of a sudden, December 25th, wow, the sun rose earlier today, and the next day, wow, the sun set later, and then that continues to increase from now until June 22nd. Every day, the sun is going to rise earlier and set later. So during that dark period of time leading up to December 21st, you go, oh, there is no hope, there's no hope. And then you go, well, wait a minute, the days are getting longer. And then what's interesting about the weather is that, winter starts December 21st. You would think, okay, now the days are getting longer, so it's going to get warmer. But the way it works is not that way. Okay, the days are getting longer, but for a month or so, we're going to be in winter, and the weather may be colder, and we may get more snow. So there's a paradox. A lot of times when hope comes, it's like you think, oh, okay, now the day is coming, but you can't be impatient. It's still 3 months to spring. We're going through the 3 months of winter now until spring. So, you try to come up, think about these things, get answers, and, I still think, it's like every day, and it doesn't matter how bad things are. It doesn't matter how bad things are. It doesn't matter how bad the world is. Is there hope? Yes. Is there faith? Yes. Where do you find that? You find it every day. You find it every day, by taking each day as it comes and, seeking guidance from the One, and then living that day, in the best way that you can. And every day, then you find that there are blessings. Every day, if you seek guidance from the One, then you receive guidance from the One for that day. That's the reason why Jesus, whose birthday we celebrate on this day, said, "Think not on the morrow, for the morrow shall take care of itself. Sufficient unto the day are the troubles thereof." And you live that day, and, you know, every day is wonderful. So the one other thing that I didn't mention is that it's also a full moon. So we have the solstice, Christmas Day, the full moon, when I don't know, I mean, it's like, I've talked too long, I'm not even going the full moon, but it's a full moon, so in your own mind you can relate to what your experience and what the social experience of a full moon is. So we're experiencing a full moon on Christmas. The days are starting to get brighter. There is hope. I wish you faith. And we're getting ready for the new year. So what kind of a new year will this be? Well, if you have hope and you have faith and you live each day seeking guidance from the divine, then you will find that. And this will be a year of fulfillment. So it's too early for me to wish you a happy new year yet, because it's not quite to the new year, unless you're one of those who counts the new year from the time of the solstice. But in any case, I wish you all a Merry Christmas. And once again, that's the reason why we say Flawed Guru, because I am not pretending to be a realized being. I do not have answers. I just want to encourage you every day to have hope, have faith, be as kind as you can, be as loving you can, and whatever challenges, as Jesus said, sufficient unto the day are the troubles thereof. Whatever troubles there are that day, then accept the situation that you're in and deal with things one at a time, one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, and whatever it is that you're doing, focusing on one task at a time. And then I will give you a guarantee. I guarantee you that if you do that, you will have a wonderful life. As St. Paul said, all things work for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So if you approach life with faith, with hope, with gratitude, take things each day as they come, and then involve yourself in your life dealing with the things each day, then you will find that life is exciting, fulfilling, and rewarding. And focus on those values that are values, on the values that are eternal and give meaning to life. What are those values? Number 1, love. Number 2, seeking the truth and seeking to be truthful. And number 3, to be kind to others. It's like to seek God, to love God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. And then to love others as yourself. Or in Hinduism, as they would say, bhakti yoga, to engage in a devotional relationship of love with the Supreme Godhead. And karma yoga, to serve others. And each day then to find that path. That's the thing. That's the thing. So, Merry Christmas.